Welcome to Crime Maze. In this video we are going to talk about the 5 unsolved murders in Florida. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Florida's warm weather and beautiful beaches seem to attract or produce some of America's worst serial killers. From killer babysitters to killer cops, the Sunshine State has produced some of the country's most heinous murderers, ranking among the top 5 states for serial killers. Some were creepy serial killer artists who made their crimes artful. In the Sunshine State, Ted Bundy and Bobby Joe Long were on death row for crimes committed across the country. Regardless, you may want to read on before your spring break trip to Daytona. After all, you don't want to meet any Florida serial killers. Here are Florida's 5 unsolved murders. Number 5. Brandy Lynn Hall. Brandy Lynn Hall was born on September 14, 1973, Bull Creek, Florida. Grew up, Brandi joined the Palm Bay Fire Department in Palm Bay, Florida. In October 1994, he became Osceola County Fire Chief. April 2000, she was promoted to drive engineer and became a paramedic. Brandi joined the Palm Bay Fire Department in Palm Bay, Florida. In October 1994, he became Osceola County Fire Chief. April 2000, she was promoted to drive engineer and became a paramedic. On July 2, 2005, her husband was charged with trafficking marijuana, possession with intent to sell, and manufacturing a hallucinogen. Brandi was arrested on marijuana charges on July 8, 2005. She said she had no idea what her husband was doing on their 13-acre property. Brandi was to work a full night shift at the Holopaw Volunteer Fire Department in the 1800 block of Malabar Road on August 17, 2006. She called her husband and children around 9:30 p.m. Brandi didn't return home that night and hasn't been seen since. Brandi failed to answer her husband's calls on the morning of August 18, 2006. On August 19, 2006, cadaver dogs, dive teams, and volunteers began searching the pond and surrounding woods. So far, no sign of Brandi. An investigation revealed that Randall Richmond had not spoken to Brandi for weeks before she vanished. He was having an affair with Brandi. Her husband was released. He lives in Orlando, Florida with his wife and kids. A Brevard Circuit Court declared Brandy Hall dead on August 18, 2015. Number 4. Judy McFarland. Her killer has never been found after she left church in 1992. Every Monday night, Judy McFarland went to a Bible study group at her church. After the Bible study at United Pentecostal Church in Gainesville, Florida, the 30-year-old seemed happy. Judy stopped to admire the flowers planted in front of the church despite the light rain. Noticing the heavy rain, 2 other church members offered her a ride home, but Judy declined. She said she lived nearby and preferred to walk, so the 2 churchgoers left. Judy never returned home and was never seen alive. Judy had recently separated from her husband and was adjusting to life as a single mother of 4 young children that winter. Her children had moved in with her mother immediately after the divorce, but her mother's house had recently burned down. Judy and her kids then moved into a small trailer not far from her church. Stressful, but Judy was up for any challenge. Judy had served in the United States Army and then the National Guard for a total of 8 years. She could be tough when needed, and she wouldn't hesitate to fight someone if she felt it was necessary. She had steely nerves and had just earned her private pilot's license. Judy had no one waiting for her when she returned from Bible study that night, as she was temporarily living alone. Her younger sister, concerned about her inability to contact her, reported her missing on Wednesday. When Judy's family discovered she was missing, they assumed the worst. They knew she would never leave without telling anyone. She had been checking in with her cousin and kids almost daily. She longed to be a mother since she was a child, and she adored her kids. The Alachua County Sheriff's Office investigated Judy's disappearance, but found nothing suspicious. She was an adult, had arranged child care, and cashed a $300 check before she vanished. Detectives assured her family that she had decided to take a break and would contact them when ready. This angered Judy's family, who pointed out that no large-scale searches for Judy had ever been conducted. They openly questioned why the Alachua County Sheriff's Office had virtually ignored Judy's disappearance while responding vigorously to Beth's. Number 3. James Weaver. James Marlowe Weaver was a devoted family man. James grew up in Louisiana. The sixth child, Annie Mae, died when James was 13. The other 4 children had already moved out, leaving him and one sister alone in the house. James lived in Charleston with Richard and June. June had their first child there. June recalls James' decision to trim his newborn niece's nails. He clipped her finger, and it bled profusely. "I was all over him," she laughed. Then he and his wife moved to Fleetwood Mobile Home and RV Park in Jacksonville, FL. The Weavers would live in the park while James managed it. Their 9-month-old grandson was with them that night. Mrs. Weaver fell ill during the night and was taken to the hospital by their daughter. When they returned the next morning, they found James dead on the floor, covered in his own blood. The suspect entered the Weaver home by opening a window and reaching through to unlock the door. According to deputies, despite the blunt force trauma determination, the weapon was never found. Investigators suspect robbery, as several items were stolen from the home, including $300 from the manager's safe. Thankfully, the grandchild was unharmed and still sleeping in his crib when the women returned home. Since James' murder, much of the Weaver family has died. Richard, his beloved brother, died in October 2018. Richard told reporter Lorena Inclan of Action News Jax that having his brother's case would mean everything in the world. Number 2. Jennifer Odom. Jennifer Renee Odom, 12, had just gotten off her school bus around 3 p.m. on February 19, 1993, waving goodbye to her friends as the bus drove away. After the school bus, she walked 200 yards home. She would never arrive, her fate almost unimaginable. Renee Converse, Odom's mother, recalls driving her daughter to the bus that morning as part of their morning ritual. She watched as Odom exited the car, climbed onto the bus, and sat in the back to watch her mother drive to work. When Odom's 9-year-old sister Jessica arrived home around 4:00 p.m., the door was locked. Jessica called her mother, who realized Jennifer hadn't arrived. A woman named Michelle said she saw Odom get off the bus and start walking home. Converse called the cops because he felt unsafe. A search party comprised of family, friends, neighbors, and volunteers was formed. Jennifer Odom's naked body was discovered in an orange grove 10 miles north of Spring Lake in Hernando County on February 25. Her killers were brutal. The school bus children recall an older blue pickup truck driving slowly down the road in Jennifer's direction. They described him as a white man in his 40s with shoulder-length brown hair. No one ever found the truck or the driver. Her killer's fingerprints were found in her backpack 2 years later, along with a clarinet case, but no one was ever identified in the database. With over 1,000 pieces of evidence recovered, numerous tips, and a 75,000-page file, Odom's case still stings the community. Police promise to never give up on finding Jennifer Odom's killer. Number 1. Renee Collins and Peterson Delham. Peterson Delham and Renee Collins moved from West Palm Beach to Orlando. Delham was a security guard and Collins was a bank manager in their apartment on Cinder Lane Parkway. Delham and Collins died 2 weeks ago. Police won't say how they died, but said it was extremely violent and depraved. The motive and killer remain unknown. A normal couple, extremely violent and depraved. Investigators said. Detectives from Orlando are reaching out to West Palm Beach for any information, as there may be a connection. Anyone with information in the West Palm Beach or Orlando area should contact Collins' father. The grandparents say PJ 3 is in therapy and has nightmares about the double murder of his parents. They hope someone knows something. The case has a $5,000 reward, say Orlando cops. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.